Hello, 7th grade. We're going to go over our study guide for the final. So, finding perimeter. Remember, perimeter is the distance along the outsides. So, all you need to do is add up the 22 side plus 22 plus the 27. And don't forget your units. Add those together. You get 71 feet. Perimeter is distance, so it's just feet. Okay, so here you're going to add these four numbers together. So after you add those together, you'll get 85 inches. That's perimeter. So then at number 3, same thing. So you're going to take 4 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 6, 4, 2, 2. Add all those up. And since it's asking for perimeter and area, we're going to label this at the perimeter. You would get 30. There's no units there, so I'm going to put units. To do area, we need to break this up into rectangles. So there's different ways to do this. I'm going to do that rectangle there. And then, let's see, maybe right here and right here. Let's make this go down. Okay, so there's a lot of different choices you have here. I broke it up to these 4 rectangles. So we do length times width. So this one here, 4 by 4. So that equals 16. This rectangle right here, this is a 1, and that's 3. So 1 times 3 has an area of 3. This rectangle right here, 2 and 4. So 4 times 2, that has an area of 8. And so this one that's left is the tricky one. I'm trying to figure out what this is. So let's start right here. I know this much is 1. It says it right here. From here to here is 1. Here to here is 1 because it says right here. This is 1 and this is 1. So if I have this rectangle, I know that side is 2. And then I got to figure out this distance. So ignore this green part. This whole thing's 4, so that means this whole side is 4. And from here to here, we have 3. So if this is 3 and this whole thing is 4, I know this has to be 1 because 3 plus 1 is 4. So this is 1. So 2 times 1 equals 2. So add all these together to get the total area. We add them together, you're going to get 29. And area is squared, 29 units squared. The next 2 problems, we're doing Pythagorean Theorem. So that's just for right triangles. A squared plus b squared equals c squared is the equation. And c is the hypotenuse. Remember, it's always this that's across from the 90 degrees. So we're trying to find c. This can be a or b, it doesn't matter. But you get 8 squared plus 5 squared, a and b, equals c squared. So I square both of these. 8 times 8 is 64. 5 times 5 is 25. And then I add those together. Now sorry, that's not 100. I was doing that math in my head a little too fast. That's 89. Okay, so 89 is what c squared equals, not c. So remember, in order to find what c equals, we square root both sides. So you have to square root to undo the square. And so in your calculator, you can do the square root of 89 and give me 1 or 2 decimal places. Well, it says the nearest tenth. Nearest tenth, so 1 decimal place, that's going to be 9.4. See, that makes a lot more sense if this is 9.4. If this is 5 and 8, that'd be possible for this to be 89. So make sure your answer makes sense. That will help. So here we're trying to find c again. So 2 squared plus 9 squared equals c squared. Okay, make those both squared. So 2 times 2 is 4. 9 times 9 is 81. Add those together. That's what c squared equals. So now you square root both sides. Cancel that out to get c. 9.2. And these are distances. It should say units, and this should say 9.2 units. Okay, now everything else is volume. So now our units are going to be to the third power. So this is where you're going to need your green sheet. If you don't have these formulas memorized, that's okay. So rectangular prism is here. And what you do is you take the length times width times height. You just multiply the 3 dimensions for rectangular prisms. So I take 9 times 4 times 4. Length times width times height. The order of multiplication doesn't matter. Oops, sorry. So remember, order does not matter when you multiply. So don't get too stressed about which ones you multiply by first, because, yeah, it doesn't matter. So 144 units, it's centimeters, and volume is cubed. Okay, number 7 is a rectangular prism. It is a general prism here. It's a triangular prism because it has a triangle base. It's this one. You take the area of the base times the height. So I have to find the area of this triangle right here. Take the area of this triangle, then times the height of the prism. So a triangle area is 1/2 times base times height. So we learned that you take the base times height of the triangle, and then we're going to divide it by 2. So the base of my triangle is 4. The height of my triangle here is 6. And I'm going to divide that by 2. So 6 times 4 is 24. And then half of that is 12. So the area of this triangle is 12. Now I have to multiply that by the height of the prism. I'll show you the formula again. Area of the base, 12. Now times the height of the prism. So times the 9. 108. And our units are feet cubed. Alright, rectangular prism. So you take the base times the width times the height, or length times width times height. Multiply all 3 of those together. 8 times 7 times 18.5. Alright. Number 9, we have the triangle again. And so we're taking the area of the base times height. So the area of a triangle, we take the base of the triangle times the height of the triangle divided by 2. And we're going to take that times this height of the prism. So the base of my triangle is 9.5 times the height of my triangle is 7. And I'm going to divide that by 2. And then I'm going to take that times the height, 20.5. Okay, base times the height, divide by 2, and then take that answer times 20.5 times the height of our prism. And if you put that in your calculator correctly, that would be your answer. On 10, we have a rectangular prism here, which is length times width times height. So you just have to multiply the 3 numbers together. 7 times 19.5 times 20. Multiply all those together, and this would be your answer. Centimeters cubed. So we have another rectangular prism. You multiply those together as well. And you get 558.3 feet cubed. Okay, these next problems are cylinders. These are all cylinders. So here is our cylinder, and I had most of you rewrite it like this because of the area of the base. It's a circle. Area of a circle is pi r squared, and then times h. So on these next problems, to find our volume, we're going to take pi times r squared times h for all of these. Now all of them, I notice, have the diameter, so be sure to read these carefully on the test. So since you're given a diameter of 11, take 11 divided by 2 to find the radius. So our radius is 5.5. So I'm going to take 5.5 and I square that first. take that answer times pi and times the height times 8 to get the volume. So square this first, multiply those, and I'm using the pi button and rounding to 2 decimals. And it's in centimeters, so centimeters cubed. Okay, this one, diameter is 10, so that means my radius is 5. So you can take 5 squared, then times pi, then times the height of 10. And you're going to get 785.40 centimeters cubed. Now a diameter of 5, so my radius is half of that, 2.5. So take 2.5 squared times the pi button times 9. This time it's inches cubed. Okay, that's how we do cylinders. So in the next 2 problems are cones. Looking on our sheet, here's our cones, and on your sheet you can rewrite that if you want, that the volume is going to equal, the area of the base is a circle, so pi times r squared, times the height, so we do all of that, same as this, as a cylinder, and then we divide by 3 for cones at the end. So you can rewrite that if you want. So here's my radius. So I take 4 squared times pi times the height of 8 and then divide by 3. Make sure you square this first, you get 16. Then multiply and then divide by 3 for your final answer of 134 feet cubed. And if I round that, it's really, there we go, to the nearest hundredth there. So you can use 3.14 for pi. You can round to the nearest tenth like it said if you wanted. It would be 0 for the nearest tenth. You can, whichever way you want. I don't care on that. My radius is 3, so 3 squared times pi times the height of 8, then divide by 3 for cones. So square it first, multiply, then divide. If you round to the nearest tenth, you get 75.4 feet cubed. So very similar with pyramids then. Pyramids, we do the same as our prisms, but divide by 3. So here's the pyramid. Area of the base times the height times 1/3, or you can think just divide by 3 because it's 1/3 of the size. So if the base is a rectangle here, the area of a rectangle, you take 8 times 5 and then times the height, so times 13.5, and then divide by 3. Area of the base times this height, and then we divide by 3. You get 180 centimeters to the third. Okay, so this has a rectangle base, so you find the area of the base by taking 6.6 times 11, and then times the height, and then divide by 3. And if I round to the nearest tenth, I get 350.9 meters to the third. We have another rectangular pyramid, so it's the same thing, has a rectangle base. Here's the height, so the base is a 440 by this. So to find the area of that rectangle, we take the 440 times the 594, then times the height, this is going to be huge, and then divide by 3. So that convention center then is giant. Oops, it's an 8. But it's in meters. There's our volume there. Okay, so you can pause this and see all my work. This one's cone-shaped. So you have to find the radius by dividing by 2. Here's where I plugged in. Here's the answer. All the rest are spheres, so you have to have the radius. Make sure you do it to the third power. If you have the diameter, divide by 2. Radius to the third power, then times pi, then times 4, divide by 3. So check all your units, check your answers. Good luck, everyone. Take it one step at a time.